Morning, everyone. So this video is going to be pretty short because I don't have too much to say. Just a little update. Obviously, I haven't been putting out videos. It's been like 2 months. Time flies. Mainly because of the new, the baby, still just 6 months. Yeah, just the time I usually make videos, I have to take care of him and still work and whatnot. And also, ETC is upon us. There's no tournaments going on online right now because there's so many in-person tournaments that there's a lot of scheduling conflicts, and like I said, ETC lists are doing a month. USA has been scrimmaging. We have a couple scrimmages lined up, so that's pretty much what we're doing now is just scrimmaging and tweaking our list. Another reason I don't have much to talk about is that I pretty much know what list I'm going to be taking to ETC. It's the one you see in front of you. Will it be this 100%? Probably. Kind of lazy. I don't feel like changing it. I like how it plays. I played it a lot. I win a lot of games with it. Really, the only tweaks. I mean, we can talk about a couple potential things just real quick. And I talked about this in a video probably 2 months ago. I talked about this list because I took something very similar to an online event and in person. I had a little change to it. But that being said, this is probably what I'll be taking ETC. I don't really mind sharing that because I don't think people are going to try to counter me specifically, but also all my videos, all my online events, it's basically this shit. Like I've always run like Herald 2 Elders. Like it's no surprise that I'm not coming out with like a bunch of infantry warriors. And I did try some Helmwall stuff, and I actually think it's pretty good and has its uses, but it's not me. And if you're gonna spend all this money to go to ETC, I don't want to. I want to play something I like that I also think is very good. So, as far as credit goes, I'll say this list is partially inspired by an Italian list. In fact, in the end, the Chaos Lord is the biggest thing. I mean, he didn't have a Herald or the Chariot guy, so it's a kind of amalgamation of that, like tweaking it to my own. I do think that Chosen Lord build. He also didn't trophy, which you need to. I think it'll be seen a decent bit at ECC. I wouldn't be surprised if, well, I don't know how many people actually. I know at least there'll be two of them. So let's just go through the list. Again, I probably won't have a 9th Age video maybe until ETC lists are released. Just most of the 9th Age focuses on the scrimmaging and the ETC team itself, so I don't have really much to say. Rules and stuff. I've done a lot of rules. So this is the list. Herald, I was pretty much never not going to take a Herald. I think I've just played with it too much. I enjoy the too much to not take it. So he's always going to be there. He's not the general because you need the extra points on Chosen Lord build. He pretty much, he kills a lot of shit, and he has really been very, very, very good in the games I've played. He's had a couple games where he's kind of sucked, but as I've gotten better with him, and as I kind of just a threat he has, like he has a pretty good shot to one shot a lot of heroes, and like a lot of these Echo Twain, KOE lords can just one shot him. And now that they changed the tabard, it's much better for him because before you could one shot him, he'd get back up with one wound, and maybe gets healed. Maybe you could put Breath of Corruption on the horse and kill him with that. They usually had a great weapon. But now that they changed it and he can't get back up, like legit, like 50% chance, maybe more depending on the build of the KOE player. He just does a lot of work. If you ever get a couple trophy racks up, he can hold forever. He can grind normal units with 6 strength 6. Sure, he's one alchemy spell away from being dead, but I'll have a commentary on that with the sorcerer build. So this is my sorcerer build. Pretty much the old build, except you change Alchemist Alloy for Basalt because you don't have hero points for Basalt. He's Evo instead of Alchemy, but he's been Evo for a while. Big reasons, obviously, getting the Veil is pretty nice because you have more gauntlets than the other guy, but also You don't really need armor in this list. You don't have like 2-up save chosen. You don't really have warrior units that you care about getting armor on. Yeah, so it's much more about like the rerolls, because Glory of Gold is not always good on the Chosen Lord, because yes, it's reroll of wounds, but you don't always want flaming. And if you need flaming, you just turn on flaming yourself. So the 2 reroll spells are better, or even whispers. And just like for the army itself, it has worked nicely. It's kind of nice to have the option to reroll the wound with lethals on the warriors or the barbs with paired weapons, or reroll the wound on the herald when he has breath and stomps. It's just the magic's been good, and obviously the 2 support spells versus the herald. Not a ton of magic in this, but try to make it efficient. Binding scroll, because I think you need a binding scroll in a warriors list, especially like this. Those turns where people have 2 big spells against you, you can just run up, binding one of them, dice the other. Hopefully survive the phase and kill them. 4. I needed 3 scoring from core and a chaff unit, so dogs are obvious. A lust unit maybe isn't obvious. I took pride, but lust is just too good. Still, yes, it's more points. I've made the argument of like, at the end of the day, you're spending core points, right? So if you went pride and saved however many points it saves, pride is, yeah, you save 50 points, which is pretty good. But what are you getting for 50 points? You don't want more barbs, you don't care. So this unit's fine. You don't need anything here. There was a standard here before, and now I put a champ on the barbs. It's good for pinning heroes and putting breath on. And standard here was nice, but it's so what? You get 50 points. You can't flee. You don't have Strider. So now I actually have a unit that can go into runes, and their main duty is, they're pretty much always like on Mario duty. So being able to flee actually really helps in that case. And Strider really helps in that case as well. So they do what they need to do. And again, 50 points get you what? 2 barb horsemen. Does that really matter? It's just better to be, because it's like, if you think about lust, right? Take away being able to flee. It's basically like having a stalker standard, which is pretty good on some warrior. But anyway, I'm not gonna. The only thing that really was in contention in core was the banner speed or horseman. So you can have shields, you can have light lances, you can have great weapons, you can have banner speed. I've seen people ponder with like Wasteland Torch and stuff. I'm not in love with Wasteland Torch, personally, because it is the bunker for the Chosen Lord a lot of the time, and I don't want him to have flaming attacks all the time. So it's fine though. I just like speed because it makes the Chaos Lord faster, whether he's marching out 16, you're moving up 16, it does slow the unit, but then you charge out 9. Again, it's core points. You can go Stalker Standard would be an interesting one because ruins, but I'm not. It doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. Take banner speed, do your thing. They have a 4-up save. They're a bunker that scores, and then charge him. They're not. I had like a 13-man unit in the last list, and I took like a sorcerer on horse. But the problem is they feed too much res. So unless you're in charge of like a single character, yes, your Chaos Lord can kill a lot, but like you also run the risk of happens a lot is where they blow up the barbarians or the unit around the Chaos Lord, and then he flees and dies. I also didn't like that because the sorcerer went in that unit a lot, and I like my sorcerer to charge out and do things. And when both characters in the unit, you can't charge them both out. Obviously, you can run the sorcerer by himself, like the chariot guy, which actually has a lot of uses. And I probably would have almost did that, but I just really like the chariot. +1 res, +1 wound when you're compared to the horse. Thumbs up. Impact hits, thumbs up. It's not much different in price, I don't think. And, people will say, oh, he can be picked out. Oh, he's bad versus alchemy. My army has targets for alchemy, whether it's a Chosen Lord by himself, the Warrior Knights, or the Sorcerer. I agree. I don't love alchemy. I don't like feed on playing alchemy. But first of all, the Mage army is second line. And also, my army is just so quick that, like, I'm just fighting. Like, very rarely does a what am I gonna think? You can one shot that guy with Quicksilver Lash. Hard to, because you have to roll. It's a 1/3, and then whatever the odds are rolling 4 2 pluses. So you're probably talking 20 some percent, maybe less. But also, like, he's very good, but he's not like, I can win the game without that guy being dead. So it's kind of like a saturation of targets, right? It's kind of the same with cannons. People are like, oh, you can cannon the sword. Listen, when the Herald, Chosen Lord, and 2 Elders come at you, people don't shoot the Sorcerer Lord or the Sorcerer most of the time, because if they don't shoot the other things, they're gonna kill him, and then it doesn't matter that I lost my Sorcerer. And the chance of one-shotting him with a lot of things like cannons and whatnot is so low that if you do like 2 or 3 wounds, I don't really fight with him. He's like a backup character, like take challenges, pin things, maybe combo charge, turn 3 or 4, because he's not that fast on the chariot, obviously. He'll 8, hang on a hill. So sometimes getting a wound or 2 on him isn't even that good, because either I won't charge him, or it's not like, just won't die. So I don't really care that he doesn't have Basalt. I'd rather him just be good. I don't love Alchemy anyway. Like, I'm not in love against playing against it, so it's kind of like doubling down on just being bad versus Alchemy without really being that bad, if that makes sense. Elders, 2 Elders, nothing crazy here. One paired, one great. Points is one reason. Also, Strength 8 is really nice. Single model is great. Another chaff in the flares, which flares are just really nice, period. Warhounds have their uses, but having a chaff unit that moves 20, that can reroll its own panic, that do a little bit more cool things, is much better than like 2 hounds. So I think you always want to have that flare unit with this kind of army. And then a swing point is the knight unit. So this would have been Gus maybe back in the day, but a 4th scoring, plus I can't take Gus, which is the Forsaken one, because of Legendary Beast Cap. I've seen people, so they don't have a mark because I want the Lord to be able to run in them, and I don't want Wrath because I want lances and expensive. I have really liked this unit more than I thought I would. So there's good and bad. The bad is they can't flee. There's a lot of situations where I charge them in, kill something, and then they're like shit out of luck sitting there. But at the same time, one thing I like about him is 1-up save is just very, very resilient. So even as a chaff piece, I mean, the knights are never just chaff. Even if somebody smashes them with I charge something and then I'm at shit of luck because I can't flee. As long as you can reform in a way that isn't like super detrimental and you're getting destroyed, like absolutely like crazy overruns and pursues, it's a lot of times people can't kill a whole unit. And I think that's one underrated thing. And for example, a lot of people, when they chaff, and there's too many situations to really say this should be done all the time or something, but a lot of situations when people chaff, even with normal chaff or just things, they're like, all right, I'm going to put it in front of your unit, and then most of the time the chaff just all dies. But I think there's a big like advantage if you can get people to clip you with chaff or something, or even like, I'll give you the best example would be like, if I ever need to do something where I wanted to chaff with the 7 knights, you go like 1 wide, people don't get a lot of attacks, and you're 1-up save knights, and there's a good chance if you can force the pursuit to be unfavorable that they'll just kill like 2 knights you break, and then you might get away and just rally, or they pursue you and then you countercharge and kill them anyway, or you just hold. I mean, I've had a 1-2 wide knights just beat a unit because they still have a lot of strength 4 attacks, they don't take a lot back. And think of it this way, think of like a shitty, well, you could just stand in front of them. You would beat most like rank units, right? A rank unit charges you, they have 3 ranks, banner charge, 5 res, you have 1 banner, so they're up 4. They probably don't do a wound, and you probably do 2 or 3. You're on a rerollable 8 to 9 probably. Or not 9, 8 to 7. Good chance you hold. And even if you don't hold, like I said, if you survive to flee, great. They're very good on the charge. They're good with reroll a wound, obviously, and reroll a hit. One thing I like is, 1, I like the 1-up save. 2, if you do get like lethals off on them, like there was a game, just an example, where they were possibly going to get charged by something, and I was like, what do I do? And I just put like big re-rolls to wound on them, and I was like, all right, well, I'm only strength 4, but I'm strength 4 re-roll lethals, which is almost as good as just being strength 6 in some cases. It's not, but you get what I'm saying. So the pivot point there is they could be Feldrakes because they're scoring. They're just as fast. They're beefy. And I don't think Feldrakes are bad. I think they're a perfectly fine choice to take. One advantage of them, and there are advantages of it, would be the Herald can hide behind them if he doesn't have large or tall. The Chariot can hide behind them. They can flee, which is nice. They are strength 7 if you go great weapons. Downsides would be they're good versus alchemy. So like if you took like 2 precautions and said, I'm gonna take assault on the sorcerer and I'm not gonna take knights, you're pretty good versus alchemy because your chosen lord's just gonna be in the barbed horseman. That being said, knights hit harder on the charge. I mean, with their agility, it's nice to be agility 5 and go first. 1-up save is very hard to pin through. I don't know if it's actually, it's 8 wounds versus 12 wounds at res 5, res 4, but saves are different. I don't actually know which one survives and what attacks. But, knights can actually pin a character. The Feldrakes might just break because if the one dies, they're not steadfast. At least as a champion and stuff like that, they don't get rerolls to wound. You possibly, if you're not going to take standard discipline most likely on a 3-man unit, so you're at risk for panicking. It does cause panic to other Feldrakes, which is annoying sometimes if they're near each other. So they're just 2 different units. Again, I don't think it's whatever. It's not do or die. It's preference. This army wins because, and it's a scoring unit that's one a good scoring unit. And sometimes just being immune to panic and being a 1-up save knight is all you need to like hold an objective, sit there and not worry about, am I going to fail a 9 leadership or a rerollable 9 or anything. The only thing I personally miss of that list of pros from Feldrakes is fleeing, because there are a lot of situations where my knights charge something, blow it up, and I'm just like, well, they're going to die now. But I also think that's kind of how you have to play this list a little bit. Like, I'll give you an example, just a quick one. You charge, somebody chaffs you and you charge it with knights, and you're going to get counter charge. A lot of people just sit there and don't charge. But sometimes you just charge and say, all right, I'm trading a chaff piece. You're going to get to charge my knights. But then, like, it can mess up your opponent's plans. Like I said, they might not kill all the knights. They might get to rally. They might have to pursue. You might just go one wide, and all of a sudden they don't get any attacks, break, and then you just, like I said, you rally. So there's things like that you do. But I think people are like too scared because, like, if your knights die and then you got good positions for the rest of your army, who the hell cares? Right? You win this game. Like, sometimes the knights are a key piece that bust through and make a long charge or something, and sometimes they just fucking kill chaff and die, and then my elders and chosen lord and herald kill. You have 5 single models, 2 chaff, 4 scoring. One of the scoring is actually good. Oh yeah, but also the Lord can protect himself and join the Knights if he wants, which actually makes it kind of a little better because they're 1-up save Knights. Technically, actually, your Chaos Lord can join Feldrakes and give them rerolls with the trophy rack, which is pretty cool actually. But what I was saying is, one reason I like the Knights, and I haven't done this much, I don't know why, maybe the way I play, maybe it doesn't matter, but he can run with the Knights, and kind of they subvert that problem of the Barb Horseman where they don't give up a lot of combat res. Like, you might kill, depending on what you're getting charged by, obviously, you might kill a couple, but he's going to probably outdo that damage and hold. So, it's also a nice little other bunker if needed. I don't use it much. Usually, the Chaos Lord, if you don't have anything to kill him, he runs on his own that way. But that being said, the Knights are pretty useful, and I have like land. I thought great weapons are cheaper, blah blah blah, but 2-up save, striking last, like, there's uses for the Knight. Anyway, this is the list. Not much else to say. Um, Probably maybe hear from me after lists are released. I'll talk a little bit about them, maybe matchups and stuff like that. Who gets first? But like I said, I'm focusing on ETC. I'm sure I'll have an ETC wrap up video after I go and whatnot. We'll see what happens from there. Who knows what's in store after ETC? But thanks for watching and have a good day.